Um, my name is Lynn Carey, and I'm the Customer Management Manager, which means that renewals, BBOs, file room, all the real glorious parts of BLD report to me. Today, presenting with me will be Dave Lerner, who's SEO in Seattle, Portland, and Barry Abruzzo, who's an SEO down in Southern California. So a lot of you guys know those guys. What we want to do in this class today is take a case, which all of you guys have seen, and thanks to everybody for doing the work. What we wanted to do is make sure that everybody understood the case, everybody understood the issues, because we've only got 75 minutes to cover a lot. So there were no tests. Worried when I was giving them back. What kind of grade did I get? It's like, we didn't grade them. We just wanted they were done. What we wanted to take all the concepts we went through today, and in the two, there are things that you can measure, things that are ideal, and things that you can really live, and kind of pull them in an example of something that you would on a daily basis. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just walking through the concepts, structuring. What are the things that we want to think about, given that we're going and the new understanding that we have, BLD. So why are we here? One reason is BLD's move up markets change the dynamics of our business. We talked a lot about our equity allocation being low. Part of the reason it's low, we're spread out. We got a lot of little loans. When we go up market, we incur more risk. We take on more concentration. So we're concentrated with fewer customers. We've got increased financial analysis, which is driven by the complexity of these bigger deals. When they're bigger, they're more likely to be trickier. The case you guys looked at today, we've got all the answers up there. There's, how many ever people are in here? 55. There are probably that many answers. It's harder. There's a lot more to think about, and so we really need to understand all the input that's going on. Our customers are more sophisticated when we go up market, so they expect us to be more sophisticated. When they talk to you about pricing, they don't expect you to just throw a price out there. They expect you to be able to understand why it's priced the way it is and why their competition or your competition is not going to be able to meet it or might. The other thing is, which we talked about today in the market, we've got intense competition. People are out there. They're pricing irrationally. We have to sell our proposition. We can't just sell on price, and so we need to understand all the that goes into our analysis. So what I want to do first is we're going to be a little less presentation group, so I'm going to need a little more activity over everybody here. I know when you go to figure out if you know your, what does that mean? What do you think about? When you say to yourself, do I know my customer, what does that mean to you? Okay, and so understand why they make money. Yeah. Okay. I'm a terrible handwriting. You may want to do this, David. Yeah. What else? Character. Okay, what is included in character? Credit, integrity, okay. Yeah. What their needs are, right? Okay, business cycle and industry. So the cycle of the industry and maybe of the customer itself, right? Seasonality. You okay there, David?
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Okay, strategy. How they compete, okay. Yeah. You guys are thinking too fast.
Did you say who their customer base was?
Yeah, who are their customers? Kurt? No? Okay. Okay. Right. What is their perceived need? What is the request versus what they really need? Right? That's where we can add value. Right. Okay, so when you talk about knowing your customer, you guys hit upon a lot of the business issues, and we got on character. But when you're in a world where you're going into a recession, possibly, as Mike said, we don't know where we're going. The risks are higher. You're playing with bigger customers. You need to understand the full scheme. Who referred this customer to you? Is this somebody that you trust? Is this somebody that you know? Or is this somebody that might be taking advantage of us? And most of you know we've seen that. What's their current banking relationship? Where are they? Is this a bank that is a good bank for us to compete against? What is our offer vis-a-vis what they've already got? Why are they considering a banking change? And Mike talked a lot about this today. Are they considering a banking change because their bank told them to consider a banking change? Or are they considering a banking change because they have sophisticated needs that their bank can't meet? Are they considering a banking change because their branches got closed? I mean, what's motivating the change? Really understanding what's driving their request to you. Have you met the owner? Have you met with them at their place of business? Do you know that they're real? Have you seen the facility? Do you begin to get an understanding of what's driving their business? Who's their CPA? Is this a guy that you know? Is he trusted in the community? Is he good? Can you rely on these numbers? In our business, we get a lot of compiled statements and tax returns. Is this a guy that's known to do a great job? Or is this a guy that you've had experience with that may not be quite above board? And then you get into the financial side, which is the side everybody thinks about immediately, which is how do they generate revenues and add value to their customers? What changes are taking place in the industry, the competition, the client base? What might make tomorrow different from today? And what's happening within that business? Where are revenues and costs trending, and what's driving the financing need? Does the request match the need? And I'm sorry, Stacy alluded to this, but we see this a lot where somebody comes in, and this is going to be classic for the Maze case that you guys did today, where they come in and they've identified a need, but it's to fill some little piece, and they don't really understand all the ramifications of what could be put together to really benefit them. Okay, when we structure a deal, when we're getting ready to put a proposal, now we know our customer, we know what he wants, we know what he needs, we understand his cycles, we understand his business, his competition, we trust that he's got good character. What do we start thinking about when we begin to structure this deal? What do you think about? What are his needs? Right. I'm sorry? All right, what are his needs? What else? What about collateral? What collateral is available? Cash flow. Okay. What about is his need, where's his need coming, where is the repayment going to come from? Is the structure that we're thinking of putting in place consistent with where the money's coming to pay it back? Can anybody think of an idea where, an example where you might put a structure in place and it's not, and what would an example be where it's not matching? Right, and we see that a lot. To buy equipment with a PLN. So basically, you've got a long-term asset, and you're going to end up with this short-term debt that sits there. Right. Okay. Any other ideas?
You know, Lynn, just real quick.
Yep.
There's a lot of information. You think about all these things that we've just gone through, knowing your customer, understanding these things. You know, time and time again, we'll get a deal where I'll talk to a CLO and they got a referral from the branch, and they've maybe talked to the customer on the phone once, and all of a sudden they're proposing this deal to me. Okay, so you guys need to think about really understanding. I mean, these questions are serious. You know, one loan goes bad, and it takes a lot of good loans to make up one bad loan.
Right.
And if we overlook something in our customer interview, in our process of sifting through all the muck, as I call it, to find out exactly what they do, understanding the business, structuring it correctly, if we miss something that's pretty important and it leads to a problem later on, then that's our fault. Okay, so I know our process sometimes is, push, push, push and rush deals through, and that's important too. At the same time, we've got to be smart and really think these things through and understand really what the deal's all about, what the customer's all about.
And then that's what this is all about. That's what this is trying to get to. Some things that we probably haven't historically thought about very well, and that I think after today's conversation and as you begin to move forward and understand the way we're all going to get paid very soon, and I had to laugh when Brad said, well, it's not for a long time before we'll get paid that way. It's about a year. So that's Wells Fargo's long time. How does our structure affect cost and return to BLD? So in other words, if I put this loan into a very expensive monitoring structure, I put this guy into an ARL, and he really could qualify for a prime line. I've put him in the most expensive product possible, and he doesn't use it at all. Now, I've reduced my risk, but I've put him in a product that costs me money, doesn't